Why do we keep saying nucleus is very important? What is in the nucleus that is controlling information? Yes, it is DNA. DNA is the source of information. It is DNA that is responsible for passing on information from one generation to another. So, it is by decoding that the new cells get the information. So, DNA is very important. But what is DNA? After all, it is just like any other chemical molecule made up of many atoms arranged in a particular fashion, a specific fashion, right? But what will happen if an atom changes its place or it gets replaced? Obviously, the design of the molecule will change, just like our words. Now, let us take the case of a word with 3 alphabets O, P and T. If we write O first, it becomes op, it can also become top, it can also become pot. I have not changed the alphabets, I have not replaced them. It is the same alphabets, but only the arrangement has changed and the word has changed. Similarly, in DNA also, a slight change in the design can change information, and hence the next generation will have a slight change. Now, nature is very intriguing. It is not like technology, human made technology. Here, when things happen, they are precise all right, but they may not be exactly accurate. So, when a DNA multiplies, it forms DNA, but there may be a slight change. DNA A1, N1A. This is just not exact thing, this is just to give you an example. So, as a result, the daughter cells are similar, but they are not identical, which in other words means there are changes, and the changes are conventionally called variations. Even in the asexual reproduction, some variations can occur, because when DNA is undergoing its multiplication, it is not 100% accurate. It is something like you are copying from your friend's notebook, you are bound to make some error. But had it been a photocopying method, then there would have been no error. But the natural processes are not like human made technology. And that's not the bad part, that's the beauty of it. So, whereas in vegetative propagation, the chances of making exact copies were more, what nature found, I am using the word nature found as if it is some human form, but that is just a metaphor. The nature, these changes that occurred, they helped in survival, because the temperature of earth can change, the climate can change, there can be geographical changes, and in all these changes the survival may have been difficult. But in some cases, due to variations, the changes help them to survive. Like in the case of Drosophila, usually they are red-eyed, but some developed white eyes. And when there was pollution, it was found that a white-eyed Drosophila has better chances of surviving. Grasshopper may not have been green before, but the green variety survived because it could camouflage in grass. So, changes help in the survival. So, variations are important. One significance of variation, it can help in surviving, because it provides raw material for organic evolution, right. Now, imagine if in one generation a slight change has come, in next generation another change, and so on, and each time the variation was not lost, it kept on getting accumulated. So, say after 10 or 20 generations or n number of generations, the daughter cells would have been markedly different from the original parents, isn't it? And that is how species have been evolved, right? Now, these have been accumulated, but what if two individuals with their variations came together? Like you can say, you are two friends, one is very good in maths, another in English, and if you join your energies, probably both can be good in English as well as maths. That is the story of sexual reproduction, which again we will go deep into and understand its intricacies and discover for ourselves why multicellular organisms reproduce by sexual method. As the multicellular organisms became more and more complex, they were differentiated tissues and organs. So, that is how there was division of labor. And as other tissues were getting differentiated, so were the reproductive ones. So, finally, there were proper reproductive organs which produced specialized cells. Now, these specialized cells were not identical. Some gametes are large in size and they cannot move. So, what will we use the term as non-motile. These gametes were called female gametes. The sign is like this. The other gametes had a tail. This also had a nucleus, this also had a nucleus, and almost of the same size. That means the chromosome number was same. So, this was called a male gamete. These male gametes and female gametes combine together to form a single cell called zygote. Now, the zygote has the nucleus of male gamete and the female gamete, but the tail remains outside. Now, what has happened? There is a fixed chromosome number in the male gamete and also in the female. So, in the zygote, do they become double? Now, if that is happening, then that means by now some organisms should have millions of chromosomes. You know, human beings have 46 chromosomes. If every time when sexual reproduction took place, they became double, they would have been a multiple of 46, but that has not happened. It has remained 46 only. And had it happened, this land surface would have been full of only DNA. Not only this, imagine a cell which had only 46 chromosomes is now having 92, every gene has been doubled up, what a mess it will create. It will be a chaotic condition, but nature has even taken care of this. The chromosome number in the male and the female gamete is not same as that of the parent cells, other vegetative cells. It is half, and that takes place due to reduction division, which is also called meiosis. See, we can also represent it like this. If we assume that chromosome number can be represented by n, then what we find is that the male and the female cell, they have 2n number of chromosomes. You know, whenever we want to express chromosome number, we express it in pairs. That is why we never say human beings have 46 chromosomes. What do we say? 23 pairs. Wheat has 7 pairs and so on. Now, we will understand why we do this. So, assuming n is the chromosome number, the gametes have 2n and 2n chromosome number. If there was just simple fusion, then the zygote would have had 4n, but that doesn't happen. It has only 2n. That means something has happened here, that the chromosome number has remained same. Now what is that something? That something is a reduction division or a meiosis, and as a result the chromosome number has become half. They again divide, so we get 4 daughter cells. But this time, that is the second time, division is not reduction. So the chromosome number remains n, but the number of gametes has increased. Though in the case of female, 3 degenerate, 1 is larger, but in case of male, all survive. That is why the number of male gametes produced are more than the female gametes. Why? Have a heart, wait a little, you will come to know. So these gametes which have single set of chromosomes, they are called haploid, while the cells which have 2 sets of chromosomes are called diploid. So the gametes formed are haploid, and that is why when the fertilization takes place, which is the union of male and female gamete, the chromosome number does not become double, it remains constant. So you see, it is something like meiosis and fertilization, they are complementary to each other. One cannot happen without the other, because one is doubling, second is halving. So just to maintain the chromosome number, the meiosis precedes fertilization. So this is the most important parameter of sexual reproduction, that is that sexual reproduction involves the production of male and female gamete. We call them ova and sperms. Ova are the female gamete, sperms are the male gamete. The union of the nucleus of male and female gamete is called fertilization. The cell or the resultant cell is called zygote. This zygote is single cell. That means life starts from a single cell of all living beings. Then how do we become multicellular? This cell then divides and redivides, and due to this repeated cell division, a large number of cells are produced, and then what we get is an embryo. And after this, the embryo starts differentiating, and when all organs can be differentiated, it is called a fetus. So this is the story of you, me, and everyone. We all started our lives from the zygote, which was formed by the union of male and female gamete. Female gamete, the ova from our mothers, the male gamete, the sperms from our fathers.